Alright guys, today we're going to start machining one of our straight edges on the shaper, and we're going to start with this model right here, which would be the HK24. We're not going to do the one with the dovetail because I've got my tool head on the shaper trimmed at perfectly 90 degrees up and down, and whenever we machine this one right here, I'm going to cut in both of the sides. So we'll do the top here, which will be actually the bottom. So we'll do this surface, and then we'll do these two side surfaces right there using the automatic down feed. So we'll do this one first, and then when we get this one completed, then I'll go to the HKA, which has the 45 degree dovetail right there. And then once we have this set up in the vise, we'll do this surface here, do this surface here, and then we'll move the tool head over at 45 degree and cut this angle right there using the automatic down feed. All right, so but this will be a separate video right there, and we're going to get started on this one. The first thing we're going to do, the way that I want to do this, now I don't know if this is the preferred way or the right or the wrong way. I don't know. This is the way that I'm going to do it. These ribs right here are very, very close to being on a true plane. They did a good job with casting these. So I want to set this in the vise upside down to be able to do these surfaces here. But I want to be able to clamp this and not distort it, bend it whenever I'm clamping it. So I'm going to start by cutting these ribs right here flat. I'm just going to clean them up. Not going to take a lot, but we're just going to clean them up so that they're machine true with each other, okay? And we'll do that first. Once we get both sides, we'll set it upside down in the vise, and then we'll do our main machine surface right there, okay? So let's go to the shaper. We got to trim in our vise, and then we'll start our cutting. All right, we're going to use our brand new Chicago dial indicator, tense indicator to trim in our vise. This wasn't trimmed in last time I used it, so it'll be out a little bit. We got our Noga arm on here, and I'm going to use the fine adjust on the base here to get it adjusted up there close. I've already got the stroke preset there, so let's run her down and see what it's looking like. Looks like we got a good 5, almost 6 thousandths that route. You can tell the jaw isn't completely flat there. We got a little bit of a dip there in the middle of it. Looking pretty good though. We'll snug them down and see where it's at. All right. Looks like we're going to be within a half a thousandths from end to end right there, with a little bit of waviness in the middle of the jaw. So I'd say we're trimmed in good enough for where we need to be. So ready to start setting it up. I wanted to show you guys how I come up with my the proper feed that we're going to be using to be cutting this cast iron, which is going to be 17 strokes a minute right here, okay? And this is the formula. I just went ahead and wrote it out so it's a little bit easier to see on camera right here. And this is all stuff that I'm getting straight out of my book right here, okay? This chapter goes over shaper, okay? And feeds for, I'm sorry, not feeds, but the cutting speeds for shapers are actually given in strokes per minute. Okay, so this chart right here gives you your shaper speeds and feeds in feet per minute. So we're going to be cutting cast iron, so it recommends a surface speed of 60 feet per minute using a high-speed steel. All right, so 60 is our known right there. We know that 60 feet per minute. And we also know that our cutting length is going to be 25 inches because we want a little bit extra length for our overhang, you know, for our return stroke, and you know, whenever we go past our workpiece there. So for a shaper, you have to convert it, and it all explains it in this right here. You have to convert it from feet per minute to inches per minute. And the other thing you have to remember is your cutting stroke for a shaper is only 3/5 of the cycle. So part of this formula is breaking that down into inches per minute and then 3/5 of the cycle. All right, so this is the formula right here, and it's just giving you the example. You know, so your cutting speed is divided by your length times 0.14. This right here just shows you the same thing. Cutting speed divided by length times 1 divided by 7. 1 divided by 7 being the same thing right here, 0.14. Okay, so if you drop down here, you see that gives you your total. 17.14 would be your strokes per minute if you use this formula right here to get your proper strokes per minute. Okay, to further simplify the formula to figure out what your strokes per minute would be, if you'll just, instead of using the 0.14 of your length times 0.14 on the formula here, if you'll just go cutting speed times 7 divided by the length of your stroke, which in our case is going to be 25, that'll give you your strokes per minute. And you see how close that is. You know, 17.14, 16.8. You round that off, you're at 17 strokes a minute. So this is the easiest formula to remember for your shaper right there, is your feet per minute for your given material, whichever that's going to be. In our case is going to be cast iron at 60. So your feet per minute times 7 divided by your stroke length will give you your strokes per minute. All right, all that can be found right here, and this is my favorite book, Technology of Machine Tools. But there's several books out there that have really good chapters on shapers and planers, and it gives you all the formulas right here that you need to know. While I got you here, I'll show you the tool bit that we're going to be using to make the cut. I've already touched it up. This is a piece of Momax Cobalt 1-inch square, and I did touch it up on the grinder, touched the top of it, and I've rehoned it on my tri-stone over there. We got a nice sharply honed radius and cutting edge, and I changed up the angle so that I can position the tool so that our cutting edge here is 90 degrees to the direction of feed right there. I've been working on getting the vise set up here, and let me explain my setup. I've got my sandpaper here, my emery cloth, taped to each side of the jaws right here, and this is providing the best way to hold this rough casting in there. While setting this up, I've already tried the little bar, or let's say welding rod, aluminum bar on one side, and any other way that I've tried to set this up, even with the I've got a little ball bearing that I can put in there that applies pressure just to one point. Any other way I've done it has tried to kick it up whenever I tighten the jaws up, and I want it to stay flat on these ribs here. When I lay it down, I want it to be flat on the ribs because these are all in the same plane right there. I don't want it to kick one way or the other right there. All right, and then of course these sides are not very flat. So this technique always works really well for rough castings, just taping it in there. So I got two parallels, and then so these are 5/16 tool bits, and I've mic'd these, and these are all four of these are within a 1/2 thousandth of being the same height. So that's going to be good enough for what we're doing right here with this piece of cast iron. So I've got them all ready to go. So let's set this down in there where I had it evenly. We're just kind of eyeballing these holes right here, even with the end of the vise. And so we're setting on these ribs right here. All right, and I've got it up just enough now so that we can come across here and cut, and we'll come all the way over to this right in here. All right, so once we tighten this up, I'm snugging it up now. Once I snug that up, it's not twisting the straight edge. It's not kicking it one way or the other. It's still flat on all four of the tool bits there in the parallels. There's a shot from down there so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It's snugged up, but I will take my lead and just gently tap it so that it is seated down there. Yep. No need hitting in the back. It tries to kick it up some, so just tapping the front, just making sure that it's seated on all four of the tool bits there. I'm just getting my tool set here to the angle of this area right here. I don't know if I'm going to be cutting into that. It might just come right up next to it, but I wanted to get it lined up anyway. So I just brought it over right up against it, and I'm just looking down this right here, and the edge of that tool bit is lined right up on it. Okay, so we should be good to go there. Just got to tighten my lantern good. Once you get your tool set where you want, you always got to remember to tighten the table here, and the support on the front as well. You got this one right here, but this one doesn't. On my shaper, you see how it just spins? It'll tighten up, but I believe the cam is wore out. It never really gets fully tight. So I have to go around the other side and actually tighten the nut over there to tighten up this way. I know that looks really close there, but I do have clearance, so we'll miss it. Trying to get them all evenly cutting, touching all except for here. Just taking 2/1000 a pass here. I was hoping maybe we could get it in one cut. Go ahead and come across it with it right there. Just gonna try to sneak up on that shoulder there. I don't know how true it'll be, so I don't want to take some massive cut across it. Right there. That's it. Got a few spots there along that shoulder that it actually touched it. I think our tool did a good job. It's got a nice smooth cut to it. It looks good. And for the most part, it cleaned up everything except for the very end of it, the very last rib. It doesn't matter. Because when we clamp it, it's only going to be these right here. We'll get our vacuum and clean this all up and flip it over. All right, we got everything clean, ready to go back in there on this side that we just cut here. Looks good. I'm happy with that. Just getting those holes kind of lined up here where we had it. Tighten up our vise. Alright, we're going to give our part a little tap. Sounded like it was solid there. Tight, tight. That one's tight. All four of our tool bits are tight, so that means I'm seated perfectly flat there. Awesome. I did the same thing on this side. I just put the tool about in the middle, and we had just started touching. I moved down approximately 10 thousandths to where it was touching all the ribs. We've got a little bit of a dip in the middle on this side though. Getting ready to sneak up on that shoulder there. This side's got this one hollow right in here, so I'm gonna make another cut I want to clean this up. Since it's so little, we can probably take less than 10 thousandths and we can get this cleaned up there, but we'll do that off camera, get it cleaned up, come back and work on the next side. We finished our other cleanup cut there. Turned out real nice. You see we got that one little hollow right in there, which is okay, but we cleaned up all the way across there. So we are ready to move on to the next phase. So let's go ahead and set up. We'll set it up in the vise like this. Clamp it in there like so, and we'll go ahead and start working on our main surfaces there that we're trying to get to. For the top surface, we'll just go ahead and rough it in using this tool here. I'm just going to bring the tool up. We'll get it set there, and then whenever I go to finish this surface right there, I want to use my nice finishing tool, my square nose tool, where we hone it in. So we'll do that technique once we get there. This is something that I always try to pay attention to. Now, I didn't run it forward, I just creeped it forward to see what my clearance is. So I definitely got to bring the workpiece down, because we're going to hit the tool head if I go any more forward with that. So we'll bring the work down, and then bring the tool down so that we clear the ram here. Got it touching on that end. All right, we touched on that end now. Touch, and we got 4 places. All right, so we're ready to set our depth and make a cut. Fall off our corner there so it don't chip away. Alright, here we go. I got it set up for a 40,000 step over. Move across there a little bit faster. Alright, so that was 20 thousandths, but we're not cleaning up. I need to take some more. I'd like to clean it all up in one pass. Just getting the tool set next to the edge again. That's 40 thousandths depth. 40,000 step over. That one roughing pass looks good. There's two little tiny spots in there, but they're not really big enough or deep enough to worry about. I'm thinking maybe the finish pass is going to clean that up. So we're going to move on, and we're going to cut the two sides in. Once we cut the two sides in, then we're going to focus on finishing this right here.